Huge. The sound of heavy rain. Footsteps echoing down a cold brick hallway. An old man with silver hair, hands cuffed, walks into the police station on a rainy night. No one asks who he is. They just see a strange homeless man clutching an old metal briefcase. His offense? Refusing to cooperate during a baggage check. No one knows. He's a veteran. A man who once served in a unit whose records remain classified to this day. And no one in the station, not even the duty officer, suspects that they're about to become part of one of the most shocking veteran stories in America. 30 minutes later, 6 unmarked black SUVs pull up to the station. FBI agents walk in and stand at attention. Major Merrick, sorry to keep you waiting. Justice for veterans, where forgotten stories are told exactly as they deserve to be. Justice sound of tires gliding softly on wet pavement. A trembling hand rests on the steering wheel. Mr. Walt's thumb subconsciously strokes a worn scratch in the seat's old leather. The aging truck shudders with each pothole, but he doesn't slow down. On the passenger seat, the dull silver briefcase. He places it carefully, like it carries someone's life. No radio, no voice, just the windshield wipers and the steady beat of a heart. Streetlights flicker through the glass, washing over his face. Deep wrinkles, dry eyes, but not dim. Beneath his shirt, his hand touches a piece of old cloth. From the days when Red was still alive, they used to joke, when the time comes, one of us just needs to be alive to keep the promise. Tonight, he's that one. The sound of a police siren, rain easing, red blue lights spinning ahead. Walter Merrick slows, halting precisely at the white line. A young officer approaches, wet cap, flashlight aimed straight at his face. Random check, sir. Please turn off the engine. Walt nods. Movement slow, joints stiff. The officer scans inside with his light, notices the metal briefcase. Carry anything, sir? Walt looks at him for a moment. His voice is low, dry. Documents for the bureau. Do not open. The officer frowns. Radio's in, signals his partner. Which bureau exactly, old man? Walt doesn't answer. He simply grips the handle of the briefcase. A soft click. Cold cuffs snap around his wrists. You're being detained for suspicious behavior. Sound of a steel door closing. The clack of a locking mechanism. The station hallway is silent. Fluorescent lights flicker, casting a long shadow of Walt across damp tiles. Deputy Kyle pushes him into a cold metal chair. The briefcase is taken. His hands remain cuffed. No resistance. He only watches the briefcase as if seeing a loved one's ashes taken away. A raindrop slips from his hair into his collar. His heavy coat soaked, releasing a cold mist. The young officer whistles, flipping through the briefcase. What's this? Contraband. A bomb? No one replies. Walt just bows his head, closes his eyes, lips pressed tight. Inside his inner coat pocket, his aged fingers clutch something. A worn dog tag, barely legible. Ember watch, eyes only, calm. Sound of keyboard tapping, soft hum of fans. In the office, Officer Maria Layton sets her coffee down and types CM 1179 into the Federal Access System. The file appears for less than 2 seconds, then vanishes. The screen turns black. A red warning flashes, Restricted Access Classified Level 7. Do not engage subject. Do not access Phallus. Maria frowns, tries again. The internal network immediately shuts down. All admin accounts locked. The doors, auto-lock. She looks up. Ceiling lights flicker, soft alarm activated. At the same time, an urgent email arrives from the central government system. Protect the individual and the item. No questioning. Await to gents. Maria rises slowly. Outside, the rain starts pouring again. Rain tapping on glass, clock ticking slowly. In the holding cell, Walt remains seated. Back slightly hunched, hands resting on his knees, motionless. As if he's been here before, many times. The station buzzes with whispers. Internal network down. Auto locks active. No one can log in. And the name Walter Merrick, nowhere in any database, except one burning red line. Do not engage. Maria steps in, peers through the bars at the old man. He doesn't lift his head, just says softly, "This will be over soon." She sits at the table. Lying there is a copy of the old photo, 3 soldiers laughing in a snowy forest. Maria whispers, "Walt doesn't have a statue, no ceremony, but because of him, we get to live in peace." Some scars aren't on the skin. They live in memory and never fade. Tires screech to a stop. Car doors open in unison. 6:43 p.m. 6 unmarked black SUVs pull into the station lot. All engines shut off simultaneously. Doors swing open. Polished black shoes hit the wet concrete. Synchronized, deliberate. A team in black suits, earpieces in place, no visible weapons. Leading them, a man with salt and pepper hair, eyes cold as steel, flashes his ID. Special Agent Dana Clark, FBI. He doesn't stop at the desk, doesn't ask directions, heads straight for holding. The door opens. Walt doesn't flinch, just raises his head, looks him in the eye. Clark nods slightly. "Major Merrick, we're a little late." And every officer in the station stands frozen. Sound of clasps, soft metal against wood. The small conference room is sealed. The briefcase sits at the center of the table, surrounded by 2 federal agents, a legal witness, and Clark. Walt sits at the end, silent, waiting. Clark puts on gloves, taps the case 3 times. No digital code, just an old mechanical latch. Click. The lid opens. Inside, a stack of yellowed documents stamped "Top Secret, Project Emberwatch." Black and white photos of soldiers in berets, faces blurred. A small electronic device with a faded serial number, and a new USB drive, carefully sealed in plastic. Clark doesn't touch anything. He looks at Walt, voice gentle. "You held on to this all these years?" Walt nods. "I made a promise to Red. On the exact day, at the exact hour. I'd deliver it." Low ambient music, gentle flipping of paper. Clark opens the file, eyes fixed downward. Each page watermarked, "Ease only." No one else is allowed to read. Walt leans back in his chair, his eyes distant, but his voice steady. "Emberwatch doesn't exist in history. We had no uniforms, no medals, no funerals when we died. We were the ones sent when no one else would take the mission." A young agent stares at a photo. "Is this Berlin or Libya?" Walt chuckles. "Both, and 10 other places no one remembers." On his wrist, a long scar peeks from beneath his sleeve. No one asks. No one needs to. It says enough. Quiet tones, rain tapping outside. Clark sets the file down. No one speaks. Walt pulls an old photo from his chest pocket, faded, corners curled. In the photo, 3 laughing soldiers in a war zone. One wears a beret marked in handwriting. No names, no graves. He hands it to Clark. "Red, Emery Connors, my last comrade. We were ordered to destroy the border outpost. Before the blast, Red shoved a USB into my hand and said, 'If I don't make it, you must take this home on the day you promised me.'" Walt clenches his hand. Voice thick, but eyes steady. "Today is that day. I didn't forget. We never forget each other." Sound of fading footsteps, station door closing. The team of agents departs. The SUV headlights sweep across Deputy Kyle Jensen's face, a pale white light reflecting in his stunned, vacant eyes. He stands motionless outside the station, rain soaking his uniform. The arrest form, still unsigned in his hand. He remembers saying, "Just another crazy old man." Now that same man is called Major by FBI agents, escorted like a head of state. In the old holding cell, the metal chair sits empty. Only a faint trail of rainwater remains where Walt had been. Kyle lowers his head. For the first time in his life, he feels unworthy of wearing that uniform. Wind whistling through the hallway, clock ticking slowly. The police station break room is empty. Officer Maria Layton stands by the window, a cold cup of coffee in hand. She watches the line of FBI vehicles disappear into the rain. Behind her, Kyle enters. He was a hero, wasn't he? Maria doesn't turn. She simply replies, "No, heroes get remembered." She sits at the table. Lying there is a copy of the old photo. 3 soldiers laughing in a snowy forest. Maria whispers, "Walt doesn't have a statue, no ceremony, but because of him, we get to live in peace." Some scars aren't on the skin, they live in memory and never fade. Yacht. The hum of an SUV engine, fading into the rain. No sirens, no flashing lights. Just 6 black cars vanishing quietly into the mist. In the lead vehicle, Walt sits calmly in the back seat, both hands resting atop the briefcase as if guarding a piece of his soul. He says nothing, just watches the rain through the window. Under the soft yellow glow of passing streetlights, his expression is peaceful, eyes dry, but deep. Clark sits beside him, fastening his seatbelt. No questions needed. He understands. The man beside him doesn't want thanks, only to keep a promise. The car merges onto the main road. Behind them, a town forever changed. Wind breezing through wooden doors, rain thinning out. Inside Caldwell Station, no one speaks. No more jokes, no more rushed chatter between shifts, only the heavy tick of a wall clock. Deputy Kyle quietly puts away the incomplete report. Maria sits at the table, eyes fixed on the bulletin board outside the lobby. By morning, someone had added a small note under the board. Honor those you didn't know were protecting you. No name signed, none needed. On the bench, a pair of handcuffs rests neatly. Not as a symbol of punishment, but of a lesson. One night, one briefcase, and one old man changed the way a town defined the word hero. Heat music fades gently, rain dissipates. Some heroes don't need podiums, they don't need wreaths, and no one is there to greet them when they return. They keep promises in silence, protect this country, then step back into the shadows, carrying memories, scars, and truths that will never enter history books. Walter Merrick never asked to be thanked. He just needed to fulfill a promise to a fallen brother and to the conscience of a soldier. And maybe what makes them truly great is that they choose to do what's right, even when the world has forgotten they ever existed. A Justice for Veterans is where stories like his are not forgotten. Not because they're dramatic, but because they are worth remembering.